Gotcha. Got it.
And after the meeting, Theron, what's going to happen is it's going to download the file to your local machine. So don't let your computer go to sleep. It's going to create a folder called Zoom, and then you just send that recording. You can probably send it via email in a zip file.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, it is 7 p.m. I'm going to call this regular Board of Directors meeting to order. Can we have the roll call of officers, please?
Brian, you're on mute. Brian, you're on mute. You had to come off mute.
Oh, sorry about that. Let me get back to my document. LaShawna Spencer, President.
Present.
Theron Gore, Treasurer.
Present.
Brian Creighton, Senior, Secretary. Present.
Thank you. Just a brief pause. I want to remind everyone to please keep your lines muted until the community engagement portion at the end of the agenda. You may raise your electronic hand at any time during the meeting, but we ask that you keep your lines muted unless you're called upon to speak so that we can hear the questions and the discussion going forth. For everyone who does not know, I would like to take this opportunity. Brian and I would like to welcome Robert Theron Gore to the board. He is an interim board of director through the May election that is coming up. We had a unexpected board resignation and we needed to have someone fill that seat. And so Theron answered the call. So he is the interim board member through May, and he is taking on the duties as the treasurer. So we want to welcome him and thank him for answering the call and for stepping in so quickly. Both Brian and I appreciate you. So moving on to the approval of meeting minutes. If I need to slow down, we got a bunch of stuff on the agenda. So if I'm going too fast, tell me to slow down. Approval of meeting minutes for 22 March. This is just for the record, to take a vote. We all reviewed the meeting minutes and approved with edits and saw the final version. So for the record, we are all in favor of approving the 22 March meeting minutes. Approved.
Yes. LaShawna, can you actually send an email to Era? I went online to the portal, and it seems like I need to create folders and different folder structures. So I just kind of want to get a tutorial from someone who can guide me through how to make these folders and make sure I'm doing it correctly.
Okay, to post the meeting minutes?
Correct.
Okay, all right. I will make notes to myself so I don't forget. Meeting minutes folder. Okay. So did I get everybody to approve the minutes? I'm sorry. Brian, Theron.
Yes, approved.
Okay.
Yes, approved.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, we did have an executive session. It was surrounding the unexpected resignation of the board member, and the result of that is Theron being the interim board member. So I kind of went over that in welcoming Theron. So that's what that executive session was about, to handle the resignation and to fill the spot in the interim. So again, Theron has taken that spot and we thank him for that. The next item on the agenda is the landscaping committee status. Theron, I will turn that over to you.
Yeah, basically, the landscaping committee has consisted of one member being myself. So I make a recommendation that we disband the landscaping committee and any landscaping issues be handled at the board level.
I second that motion, open it up for discussion. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. Brian?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, opening up for discussion. I don't have a problem with that. I would like for us to, and when I say us, I'm talking about the board of directors, to continue, especially the spring and summer, to maybe have a community cleanup day. So if we could maybe kind of schedule that and, get that organized.
So Brian, I actually was, I had some people need to do some community service, and I was gonna have them go around the community and pick up trash. But when I drove around, it looked fairly clean. Are you noticing any areas? Like I literally went on to something else because when I drove around, I didn't see any common areas that were bad. I think that outdoor creation been doing a pretty good job picking up.
Yeah, right. Actually, yeah. So they were in the neighborhood, I believe, late last week, cutting grass and doing some hedging, and it looks like they, done cleaned up fairly well. I know in the back area, just around where the power lines are, there's just some litter. And then when I go, when I'm driving on the outside, going out, there's just some minor litter, water bottles or soda bottles, things like that. But the community looks fairly clean. And again, I think it's more just for a kind of a morale boost, trying to get the community organized and,
yeah, I'm definitely I'm not against it. I just didn't notice. And I must have went around right after OC had come through, and they probably just picked it up. So
right.
So yeah, I'm definitely for it. I no issue with it. So I guess we just had to find a date.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
can
just something to put on the radar.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We can work on scheduling that at some point. We need to vote on disbanding the landscaping committee and moving that function to the board. All in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
The vote is unanimous. It has passed. The landscaping committee has been disbanded, and that function is now lying with the board of directors to handle all the functions that the landscaping committee was handling.
LaShawna, I'm sorry, I probably should have brought this up while we're discussing it. It's not going to change anything, but I guess we need to discuss what do we do with the landscaping email, and we probably need to send some communication out to the homeowners just so that they don't send any landscaping issues they would have emailed to landscaping needs to go to the board of directors email address, not problem.
Well, actually, it should go directly to Barkin.
Okay, but I'm just saying that anything they would have emailed landscaping for, I think we need to let them know that they should email now somewhere different. That's all I'm saying. Whatever, it wasn't a lot of traffic. It definitely, most of the traffic was from the board of directors and the other committee chairs, so it wasn't a lot. So I would probably just ask Nicole to put something in there that let everyone know that it's no longer, and any communications that you would have wanted with landscaping to direct them to the board of directors.
So we don't want to keep the Nicole is asking. Mommy. I'm sorry, can you mute your line, please? Thank you. So we don't want to keep the landscaping box. Nicole's asking, can we set up a forwarding system so that emails to landscaping get forwarded to Barkin or auto reply? I
think we should still keep the email address. But I think we should just either forward it to Barkin, but then as D-Ron had mentioned, a lot of the traffic is internal.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We're not getting homeowners emailing that. So that's what I'm saying. We're going to be forwarding our meeting announcements and the communications that come from the board. That's what Barkin would get.
So let me suggest this and we can see if it works. So my suggestion would be to keep the landscaping email account. Communicate within our network with the other chairs, telling them, okay, don't send any more emails to this email address. And then put an auto reply on the email account telling homeowners if one should email the account to contact Barkin for all landscaping concerns. And then we can let Era know that those emails will now be coming directly to Barkin and she needs to forward them to the board.
I agree with that. Only thing I would add to that is we can designate a time like maybe a year from now just to shut it down. Shut down the landscaping address. I get it. That makes sense. Just have an auto, and that's an easy fix, just auto reply. So, yep.
Brian?
Yeah, we can. I'm a little against the shutting it down because I don't know who, I don't know how, we're looking at the future. So I don't want to shut it down and then we have to stand it back up, later on. I would just say, just keep it auto reply until, we get the volunteers that's going to stand up the landscaping committee. I just don't want to kind of pigeonhole us into not having a landscaping email address.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. That makes sense.
Okay, I understand. Okay, so we're going to keep the landscaping email address and that account. We are going to tell the other chairs internally, our network, not to use that email address anymore. And we are going to set up, Theron, can you set up a automatic reply that tells homeowners that for all landscaping needs, they need to contact Barkin, our account executive, Era. And what was the last thing? Oh, and I'll let Era know that those emails will be coming to her and she needs to forward them to the board.
Yep, no problem. I'll do that tomorrow as far as the auto reply.
Okay. All right. So let me make a note. I need to email her that. Brian, you're okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Was that all for the landscaping committee before I move on?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. The next thing was the outdoor creations contract. I will let either Brian or Theron, whichever one of you want to take that one.
Brian, you can go ahead.
Yes, thank you. So, and again, I'm just looking at the communication that was sent to the board of directors from Era, or actually, I believe LaShawna forwarded. That's basically Era and what is it? It's not Thomas. Who is the gentleman that is the vice president of Barkin? Michael. Era and Michael, they try to negotiate with Outdoor Creations to lower the overall cost of the contract. And unfortunately, they were not successful. And so we are now either going to continue the contract with Outdoor Creations, or we are going to send it over to the attorney for the attorney to look at to see if there is a way to get us out of this $150,000 contract. That's basically what I have right now. Is there anything else that needs to be added?
So maybe I missed it, Brian. We had said something about we were going to talk to them and see if we can get a better price. Did you state that as well before going to the attorney?
So Era did do that. Era and Michael met with Susan from Outdoor Creations, and she sent an email saying that basically there was no room for negotiation to lower the price for the overall contract, in addition to add in Section 7. So that avenue has already been explored and there's no room for negotiation. So basically what Brian is saying now is we're to the point where we're going to continue in the contract or send it over to the attorney. Our only options are to continue in the contract or send it over to the attorney to see if we can possibly get out of the contract.
Now let me add this. Let me just add this caveat. So let me just be clear. Outdoor Creation is still performing their duties as per the contract, right? And so that has not changed. So I don't want. I want to make sure that we're clear to homeowners and to the board, because we are sending it over to the attorneys does not negate the responsibility and the contractual obligation that Outdoor Creation has with the association.
Yeah, and that's
correct. However, I do want to note that currently there is no contract for Section 7.
Yeah, so
that is correct.
We theoretically could we could hire someone different for Section 7 alone. Correct?
We could, but then we have 2 different landscaping companies that we're going to be paying for services, and I'm kind of hesitant to do that.
Right, but if we get another contractor that's going to do Section 7, just say for instance for $8,000 instead of $11,000, that's a $2,000 savings. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, because again, we are spending the association's money, and so I want to make sure that we're spending. Just me personally, I want to make sure that it's spent well.
Yeah,
and we are getting the best bang for the buck. Right.
So I would want to know from the attorney, do we have option years or are we locked in for 5 years in the current contract?
The current contract does not have option years. It is set for a set period of years.
Okay, so I based on what we read in the contract, we definitely let the attorneys look at it, but my thinking is I think the only out we have is if they're not performing to our satisfaction.
That's the way that I read it. Again, we could send it to the attorney and ask for their professional opinion, but that is how.
Is there a fee for them to give us that answer?
Oh yeah, every time we contact the attorney, there is a fee.
Yeah, so I based on the contract. I mean, I deal with contracts at work. The language is pretty clear. It's with cause. Is the avenue we have is for with cause. So I think we just we need to build a budget based on what we have right now, unless they start not meeting our satisfaction, and them not meeting our satisfaction is not the price. So it's kind of like we just got to stay on them and make sure, because like last year they didn't do my street when they came to do the tree trimming and the mulch. They forgot that street. So I think we need to start documenting those type of instances so we can build a case for with cause. I think that's the way I would recommend going, instead of spending money when we're pretty sure that the attorney is going to say is with cause, like you don't really have a way out. So I would rather not waste that money and just let's start documenting anytime we're dissatisfied with their service, and maybe just build a case and then hope and just try to use that as a way to get out of it. I mean, we signed the contract. If we don't have, it's with cause. So we gotta wait for cause. And
yeah, I'll go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, I just so with using 2 different landscaping companies, we are going to have to be meticulous in our record keeping, because that's going to get kind of messy as far as the budget goes, with paying out to 2 different landscaping companies. If that's the route that we decide to go, instead of signing the contract for Section 7 with Outdoor Creations, we look at trying to bid that out to get a cheaper price. We are going to have to be very meticulous in the record keeping and with the budget and the finances to show exactly where that money is going, because that can get messy
Right. Well, Barkin actually control. Barkin does our day-to-day operations, so Barkin is going to have to take that take that on. It's not about the board; it's about Barkin being able to meticulously account and do the accounting portion of it.
Yeah, it's just like hiring a new contractor. We hired someone that we wanted to do, say, replace all of the flower beds. We could hire a different contractor to do that, and they would just have to pay them.
Okay.
So I just don't want to reward them by giving them the contract and we feel like it's overpriced. I would rather bid it out and see what it is. And I don't think it'll be too hard to note which landscaper is doing what section, because the sections are pretty well divided. Section 7 from everywhere else.
Yeah, I actually have a question, and this is a general question. I know last month we were talking about budget modification. Finance committee chair Michael came on and said that we didn't need a modification, which is actually exactly what the statute says. But my question is this: can we afford this $150,000 contract? And if we can't, or if we can, what type of strain is it going to have on the association?
Well, let me ask this before you ask that question. Could we, so these reserves that we're mandated to put into, could we not use the reserves to offset the cost of the contract for what we have budgeted? Say, I'm just using just round numbers. If the contract we budgeted for 135,000 and they want 150, can we use the reserves to offset that $15,000 difference?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually defer that to the finance committee chair, and we should actually direct that question to the chair.
Well, I have I have some insight on that.
Okay.
But we definitely can loop in the finance chair, and then when we come to that portion of the meeting or engagement, or if you want, we can loop him in now. But that's a two-part question. So the first part, can we afford the contract? It has been discovered that we could not afford the contract initially going into the contract. So no, we can't afford the contract. We couldn't afford to enter into it in the first place. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We went over that in previous meetings. The second part, as far as taking the money out of the reserves, yes, we can do that. We are required by law to contribute a certain amount to the reserve accounts, but it doesn't, the balance, like if we have to take money out to make repairs in the community, that doesn't count against us and will not be assessed or reviewed again until it's time for us, until we're required to have another reserve study. So yes, that is a possibility. I'm
sorry, are we talking about the reserves are we talking about the capital improvement reserves?
There's only one reserve account, so it's the reserve and replacement account.
Reserve and replacement, okay.
So there's only one.
Right, so what I'm hearing you saying is that we're able to take the money out of the reserve and replacement and use that without it counting against us. However, so are we able to take it out and use it as operating? Is that what I'm understanding?
From my understanding, yes, but we would need to check with Barkin, but that's really just a Band-Aid to the overall problem of us entering into a contract that we weren't in the position to afford. We entered into the contract on a surplus from a previous year and new home sales, and that money is not guaranteed.
So, all right, so I mean, I move to maybe have an executive session with the finance committee chair and discuss this more in depth and find out a way to afford this contract through the reappropriation of funds from the capital reserve, if it's possible, going into the operating expense, or getting another more cost-effective landscaper. Section 7 has to be part of the overall plan. So we need a contract as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Brian, and that's why I'm thinking, how can we afford this? Because the fastest way, as soon as possible, is to let Outdoor Creations do it. But like you said, we're in the hole. So the only thing I would add to Brian's suggestion is that we have Era on that meeting as well, and we can have a meeting with Era and the Finance Committee Chair.
Okay. So concerning the Outdoor Creations contract, we are going to schedule a meeting between the board, the finance chair, and the account executive from Barkin to figure out a path forward for the community and the addition of Section 7, correct?
Yes.
And I just want to add, Theron, would you join me one day to drive around Section 7 and just take a look at it and see, just to see the state of Section 7? Because I know Outdoor Creation has came in and did the trimming for everything else, the community, and I just wanted to kind of drive around with you and just kind of take a look at it.
Yeah, that's no problem.
Okay, thanks.
So yes, so LaShawna, you can restate, but I think we're in agreement that we're gonna need a executive meeting with Finance Committee Chair Era to figure out a way forward with Outdoor and Section 7.
Okay, and we're looking to do that as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, does that mean this week or we looking at next week? I just need a time frame to give Era when I contact.
I'm available Friday, anytime Friday. This Friday.
Good Friday. It'll be next week. Better for me. Anytime next week.
Yeah, me also next week.
Okay.
Okay. So I will request availability for next week to get that meeting scheduled so we can figure out a path forward on it.
Sounds good.
Okay. Next on the agenda is top lot signage. Brian, did you want to take that?
Yes, I'll take top lot signage. So there was a few quotes. There was 2 quotes that came back from Barkin, and I forward the email that actually had the pictures of the signs as well as the quotes to Safety and Security Committee, which is handled through Ernest. And actually I did that today, so he probably hasn't had a chance to review. So we have a total of 4 signs that is proposed to go in a tot lot, but the tot lot's not specified. Are we talking about the pavilion tot lot? Or are we talking about another tot lot? And then question 1 is, well, that's question 1. Which tot lot? The pavilion. Okay. So we have a sign that says no trespassing, loitering, or overnight parking, closed dusk to dawn. That's one sign. The other sign is private property, closed dusk to dawn, no trespassing, no soliciting, no loitering. The third sign reads private property, no soliciting, no loitering, no trespassing, and it has something at the bottom that I cannot make out. The fourth sign says no loitering, police enforced. So those are the 4 signs.
So one of those, I believe, I don't have the email up in front of me, but one of those was for the front of the community. Because Ernie mentioned that we used to have a sign in the front of the community saying no solicitation So
Okay.
I do know one of those saying no solicitation would be at the front of the community.
All right. Okay, but so the three signs, or I'm sorry, the two signs that says no soliciting the first sign it says private property, closed dusk to dawn, no trespassing, no soliciting, and no loitering. That's one sign. So that really can't go in the front of the community. The second sign that has soliciting says private property, no soliciting, no loitering, no trespassing.
That can't go in the front either.
That can't go in the front either. So
What's the sign that needs to go in the front? What was I don't know, did we lose Brian? What
No.
was the security committee's recommendation?
So the safety and security recommendation, let me see if I can pull up the email. They provided a few signs, suggestions. And then I also provided some suggestions from other communities that I saw and I took a picture of, and I sent it in. Let me just see if I can find it. I'm not going to be able to find it in, right now, but I believe if we're going to do these four signs, three of these signs will work for the pavilion, and then we just need a sign from the community to just say, no soliciting.
So let me ask this: is there something in the bylaws that say there's no soliciting in this community?
No.
So I would hesitate putting a no soliciting sign at the beginning of the community when, I mean, we don't have any reason to do that or any bylaw that stipulates it. I would be hesitant to do that. I don't mind any of the signage at the pavilion area, dusk to dawn, whatever the committee recommends, but I don't know about putting a no soliciting sign at the beginning of the community.
Well, I think that was based on the fact that there used to be one there. The developer had placed one there. So I think that was the logic behind that. We would just be replacing the sign that used to be there. I cannot find that email.
Yeah, but I think the developer's done a lot of things that weren't necessarily the right thing to do, and they just did it, and it is what it is, and that's how we end up where we at today with some of the places we have in our community. So, I mean, I get it, it was there before, but I'm just looking at if there's a homeowner, there are some homeowners that solicit for a living, and you're telling them they can't solicit in their neighborhood when there is nothing that legally that says they can't do it. I'm just thinking the flip side of the coin of, okay, we don't want people knocking on our door, but what happens if it's just one homeowner or two homeowners that don't mind it, and we don't have a leg to stand on to say that they can't do it?
I hear what you're saying. I hear where you're coming from, and I understand where you're coming from. Great points. That's why I picked up my own no soliciting sign over the winter, and I have it out in front.
That's what I think is the more appropriate thing to do. If homeowners have a problem with soliciting, they need to put something on their property in which they can control. I mean, we can only put a soliciting sign on the community property, which, I mean, nobody's going to pavilion and soliciting. I mean, there probably are, but that's not here or there. So that would be my personal thing. I would say we would just do the signage at the top lot. I mean, at the pavilion. And
okay. All right. So let's actually create a motion. That way we can open this up for discussion and then we can vote on it. So I make a motion that we take either these four signs or these three signs that have been provided to us by Barkin Management. The quotes are very contrast. There's one quote for $2,333.62, and then there is a quote, and this is actually, but I'm sorry, I do have a question because what ERA sent us is the 4 signs, but Outdoor Creation is only installing the signs, and the installation is $980. Who is actually making the sign, and how much is the signage? Because if you look at the quotes are drastically different. One quote is for $2,033.62, and the other quote is, which is this, the installation of the sign, is $980.
Yeah, I think we need to get some information. We need to definitely know the answer to that. And then again, if we're going to pay Outdoor Creations $900 to install some signs, that kind of going against the grain of us not hiring them to do Section 7. So, I mean, if we're not happy with Outdoor Creation prices, we shouldn't be using it for anything other than what we have to. So I think we need to get some more information on the cost of the signage, and again, who's going to install it.
Right, because Signs by Tomorrow has their estimate, and it is actually their estimate is signs, setup fee, something U-channel HD, installation, all that for, like I said, $2,033.62. So these quotes are not apples to apples.
Yeah, I think that quote is for nuts to bolts. That's it. Make
Right.
the sign, that's install it, which is, I think I would recommend we go with a contractor who is going to design the sign and install it, all the same thing. So we're not dealing with two different contractors.
Correct, because the barking quote right now is I think it's an incomplete.
Yeah, so we need to get more
Only
information.
for installation.
Yeah, I make a motion that we get some more details on the quotes, and then we can discuss it at a later date after we get some more details. We have incomplete information right now to make a decision.
I second that motion.
Okay. We can follow up with ERA to clarify if Outdoor Creations would also be, in addition to installing the signs, if they would be designing the signs, if that is included in the price. And then we can make a decision on that. So all in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, none opposed. So that is the path forward for the tot lot signage. I can send an email to her and find out that additional information.
Let's clarify in the meeting minutes, Brian, if we can change the terminology from tot lot to pavilion, because we have several tot lots. We only have one pavilion.
That is correct.
So let's just so everyone is clear what we're talking about. Yeah.
Right. Instead of saying tot lot, it should be pavilion area.
Yeah.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the pavilion gate. Brian, you want to take that one too?
Yes, the pavilion gate. So it was discussed a few months ago about a pavilion gate, and during the meeting, the board of directors had elected to gather more information about the gate and how to manage the gate. I know ERA came back with a suggestion of having homeowner volunteers to open the gate. I believe she put in her update that was March the 24th, 2023, to maybe think about having some volunteers open the gate. I don't believe that is going to work. I think that we should just keep the gate in the background. We don't necessarily have the money to even think about putting a gate up. I mean, that's gonna cost us over $5,000 to put a gate up. and then we got to manage the gate.
Yeah, I agree with Brian on that one. I was while you were explaining the situation, the first thing that came to mind is where we're gonna get the money to do this.
Right.
We have two big problems. We don't have the money, nor do we have a personnel nor the staff to do it. So I think that my recommendation, we would table this for later discussion in a different budget season.
Right. So to
I
give you
agree.
some background, the suggestion came from us asking Barkin to contact Charles County Sheriff's Office because of the activity that was going on at the pavilion. Numerous complaints were being received by the homeowners in that area. And so when the officer came out to meet with her, he suggested getting a gate and referenced another community to also, in addition to the patrols that are going to be going on in that area, to also help curtail some of the activity in that area. So that was the background on researching this. But like you said, we're not really in a financial position to do that, nor do we have the manpower. So we have the information about it, and we can just file that away to such time we are able to pursue it. So I will let her know.
I would just recommend just kind of close the loop on that. I would just ask the Safety and Security Committee to keep in touch with Charles County Sheriff's Office and just to make sure we keep beefing up the amount of patrols, because I think that's what's going to deter it. If we get enough sheriff presence out here, I think people they won't want to go there anymore.
Okay. So I will I'll close the loop with Era on that, and that's going to be tabled indefinitely. But we have the information on it whenever we're ready to move forward. Next was rainwater drainage issue. I'll take this one unless Brian wants to take it. This was sent over in an email. One of the Barkin reports about some rainwater issue that they're looking into.
Can you provide the address of reference for this, please?
I have to, I don't remember which report it was in, whether it was the monthly or the weekly. So I'll have to find that, but.
Oh, here it is. It's 8725 Whittington Street. Is that the one we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So right now, she said that they're able to assess the area behind that home. And that area does belong to the HOA. And the inspector believes that some minor grading needs to happen. So it's pending inspection by a supervisor. So that is the status of that, but Barkin is working on that right now.
Would we pay for that through the reserves?
Yeah, we would have to, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So I will just add this in the report that Era sent on March 24th. Kevin, who is the inspection supervisor for planning and growth management, Charles County Codes, Permits, Inspection Services, advised that Kevin spoke with the developer who has been released from the responsibility, but Kevin asked for his help, and the developer advised him that once we get into the drier season, he would have his contractor look into repairs. However, Kevin wants to reiterate that the developer is not required to assist, but has a relationship with Kevin and is willing to assist once we get into the drier season. So, having said that, I know, we do have a reserve budget. However, if the developer is willing to assist, and I would welcome that.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
The only issue I would have with that is we're trying to wait till the drier season. So that means it's still the rainy season. So that means the homeowner is still dealing with it. And it's our property. And we're kind of hoping like in kind of like a backdoor, hey, you're gonna do the solid for me, but this homeowner may still have problems. My recommendation is I understand the budget, but because it's affecting someone's property, I recommend that we take care of it. Because
Well, just to clarify, I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Lashana, but I believe this is actually affecting the walkway and not the actual property. So the address is just a reference.
oh, okay. So this is not the one. This is not okay. That's the sump pump. I'm getting the two.
Yeah, that's the sump pump. That's a different issue.
Okay, yeah. So if it's not affecting a homeowner's property, and we can wait and see if they'll take care of it, yeah, I'm all for that.
And Lashana, just correct me if I'm wrong. Is this issue the issue that was brought up about a month ago, where there was some water on the walkway between I'm gonna say section 1 or Bancroft and Whittington, like behind the houses?
I'd have to look at the email.
Okay.
Nah, I just found it. I was searching the email. Yes, this was the sidewalk. So this was the pooling water on the sidewalk between Whittington and Bancroft.
Well, with that being said, I would make a motion for us to wait till the drier season and get the assistance from the developer. Since the developer said that he's willing to help correct this problem.
I'm okay with that. The only thing is like we're doing this secondhand. Like we're not having any discussion with the developer to know what you're talking about. So I mean, it's weather's warming up, and if it's affecting the walkway, I'm okay with waiting, but I would be prepared to get complaints about it because more people are gonna be out walking.
Okay, I think we should, in order to mitigate that, I believe we need to stay on Kevin and the developer. According to the county perk, the perk test is done. Perking land is done during the rainy season, which is now, but the rainy season is actually coming to an end, and so probably May, June is going to be the drier season. It is actually the drier season. So I think we just need to have ERA kind of monitor the pulse of this and get it done and stay engaged to where it's done, not, sooner than later. We're not talking about 2023. We're not talking about 2024. We're talking about 2023.
I would like for us to at least come to agreement that if it's not done by, say, July, then we need to engage.
Okay, so can someone make a motion and then we can move forward?
Make a motion that we continue to monitor the situation, make sure ERA is aware of it, and the developer has stated that he's going to correct the problem. But if it's not taken care of by, say, July 15th, that we need to re-engage and do something from the board of directors perspective.
Okay, I second the motion to open it up for any further discussion if needed.
No further discussion from me.
Okay. All in favor, aye.
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 None opposed. The motion has passed. The next item on the agenda is the fence quote. Their ERA is requesting a walkthrough. Theron, if you could schedule a time or coordinate with her a walkthrough. She's having a hard time getting this third quote from a company, and she wanted to go through the community so you can show her exactly the areas that be included in the quote.
I'm fine with it. Next week is better than the following week, so I'll be out of town in 2 weeks. So next week is fine.
Okay. All right. So I will let her know that, and you two can coordinate to have that walkthrough.
Yeah.
So the status of the fence bids were the in the monthly report and also in the weekly report we received last week.
And just for my clarification, because I know I did a walkthrough with fence contractors back in October, November, and I just want to clarify what that process and that bids got lost in the transfer from Century to Barking. Is that why we're doing this again?
Correct.
Okay, all right, because I know we had started the process, just the changeover as to what was the delay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We never got out off the ground with Century, and then we moved over to Barkin, and so we're still chugging along on that. The next item on the agenda is the attorney referrals. This was in the monthly report. The attorney and Barkin is recommending that we, where is it? Management is requesting the board's approval to move forward with the attorney for referrals for delinquent accounts over $500. This was the threshold, just background for you, Theron. This was the threshold that the attorney advised the board to start referrals at, so that the HOA would not be accused of being too aggressive. So they set the threshold of $500. So anything above $500 was a threshold that was originally set to refer homeowners to the attorney for legal action if they are $500 or more past due on their assessments. So Barkin is just looking for approval from the board to proceed with those accounts.
So basically, my wife pays our dues, so I don't know. What's the annual fee now?
So it is, what is it, it's 150 a quarter or one something a quarter.
Like $600?
Yeah, I honestly don't know it off the top of my head.
And the reason why I'm asking is because they're saying $500 a threshold. I would say if you're 1 year behind, whatever that fee is, that's why I was asking how much is the yearly fee. If you get
So the yearly fee is $788.
well, that's what, to me, that's where I would set the threshold at. If you get behind 1 year in your dues, then you're referred.
Well, yeah, yeah, okay, but okay. So I have a question. You know what? Let's open that up for discussion. And well, before we open up discussion, I have maybe a point of order. Why are we revisiting this when we've already set the threshold at 500? Can you explain
That
to me, LaShawn?
that threshold was set when we were with Century, and since we've moved over to Barkin, this is the first time they're encountering it. And although that's what the attorney advised us, Barkin needs to be informed. And so we need to confirm this policy moving forward with Barkin. So that's what this is.
Right, but I thought we have already, but this has been brought up, and this was brought up in 2021, going into 2022, and it was voted on, and I'm not understanding why we are bringing this up when it's just a carryover from, I mean, we don't really care if we go with another management company next year. There's still our policy going forward, right? Because we set policy.
Right, this is what we decided to do from guidance from the attorney.
And
however, it was included in the report asking for permission. And so instead of me just going ahead and saying, yes, this is what we agreed on, I wanted to bring it to the board. I could have just said, yes, we voted on this prior, and this is what the attorney advised us to do, and this is what we're going to do. I chose to bring it to the board just to make sure that that was still our stance before I provided instruction.
yeah, and that's fine.
So that's on me.
Yeah, I thought you were asking the question as if we want to discuss setting it. If the policy is already set, then I have no issue.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was good to tell her just to move forward. I
Yeah, I
didn't want
was
to make
aware.
that decision unilaterally without discussing it with the board.
No, I
Oh, yeah.
understand. I didn't understand. I didn't know that there was a policy already set. So if the policy is already set, then I have no issue with it at all.
Okay, all right, so I will let her know from now on that, well, let me make a motion. I make a motion that from now on, Barkin does not need to ask our permission to move forward with referring homeowners whose account is past due $500+ and referring them to the attorney.
But I don't believe you need to make a motion
That's
because
what I don't, yeah.
we already have
I-
policy
Okay.
set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
So,
gonna say, if we're gonna make a motion, I would make a motion that all policies set forth prior to going over to Barking are still in place.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's, I mean,
Okay.
that's, yeah, I don't think we need a motion for that. The policy is already set.
all right. So I will let her know and we can cross that off of the to-do list. So the next item was the commercial sump pump. So Era provided an update on that. Trying to find it in the spreadsheet. So Era had 3 plumbers assess the sump pump. There was a temporary fix made. And we have received 2 quotes for the final repair. One for $4,500 and the other for $2,980. She recommends proceeding with the lowest bid.
Okay, I make a motion that we proceed with the sump pump repair that is located in the Catskill Street area. I think it's Catskill Street or Circle, it's either one. For with All Seasons, there was 2 bids. All Seasons Plumbing and HVAC System came in at the lowest bid of $2,980. I make a motion that we proceed with that bid and we use funds from the reserve.
I second the motion.
Any need for discussion? Or are we ready to vote?
I do have a discussion.
Go ahead.
I believe it will serve the community well if, not if, we need to put this into the new reserve study, because the reserve study that we received does not have this particular item listed. And unbeknownst to the original board of directors, and unbeknownst to me, I was not aware that the association had a commercial sump pump in the area of Catskill to control flooding in homeowners' residences. So we need to make sure that the finance committee documents this and puts this, and actually bring it up on the next reserve study so that we were not blindsided going forward.
Yeah, I agree with that. If we need to make an assessment of any community property or machinery that we're not aware of, that needs to be included as well. Because I mean, it sounds like it's just something we just didn't know about. So is there one at the pavilion? Do we know if there's a pump there? I mean, that's for drainage too. So I don't know how we find out if there's any other mechanical items on community property.
Yeah, we did not know about that. We weren't aware of it until Barkin received the complaint that it was not working. And I'm not sure how we would find out what other equipment is on the property. We have the maps and plats from the developer, but clearly that wasn't on there.
Well, yeah, the math and plastic not going to tell us mechanical. I believe Era needs to engage with, oh my goodness, her name escapes me, but she is the go-between the developer and
Melinda Murray.
Linda Murray.
Melinda Murray. I believe Era or Barker needs to contact Melinda Murray and request any other documentation they have related to any mechanical, electrical entities within the community that we currently do not know about, or period.
Okay.
So I don't know if there's any more discussion. I was going to kind of clarify what Brian pretty much said. We're making a motion that we proceed with the lowest bid to repair the commercial sump pump, and then we make sure that this sump pump is included in the reserve study, as well as have Era reach out to Melinda Murray to find out if there's any other mechanical things that need to be included in the reserve study.
Correct.
Okay. So are we ready to vote?
Yes.
All in favor, aye.
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 None opposed, motion passes. Next on the agenda is bush removal that was noted in Era's weekly report. She received 2 quotes to remove a bush that is overgrown onto a fence, and it's also become an eyesore. So she is asking us for permission to move forward with that removal.
LaShawna, what's the point of reference for this bush?
What do you mean point of reference?
Where is it located?
So she noted it in the report. I'm trying to scroll there. So it's by 3513 Halford Street. And she also included a picture in the report so that we could actually see the bush. It's overgrowing on the HOA's fence.
Yeah, okay, I actually see it. I see it in the, I'm sorry, I see it in the outdoor creations proposal. Thank you.
So there's, yeah, there's 2 bids. One of them is outdoor creations and the other one is complete landscaping services.
Which one came in the lowest?
So outdoor creations came in at $375 to remove overgrown shrub pictured below, encroaching in the fence line behind 3513 Halford Street. All debris will be removed from site, seed and straw any disturbed areas. The other bid is from Complete Landscaping, I believe. Yep, Complete Landscaping Service. This is remove large overgrown shrub near fence, under pine tree, cut and remove stumps and all resulting debris, grade topsoil, seed and straw area after removal. $1,250.
So OC came in at $700 less.
Correct.
Yeah. So the reason why I asked that is, I mean, we're trying to find calls to get out of contract with OC, but we keep hiring them. That's not
That's because they're underbidding because they know they're overcharging us. And
I get it, but it's going to be a hard case to fight to say we're not satisfied with their work, but we keep hiring them for additional things.
I understand. I get it.
So
I make a motion that the board hires Outdoor Creations according to their proposal for 3513 Halford Street shrub removal at a cost of $375, and the money be allocated from the reserve.
I second the motion.
Any need for discussion?
No.
Okay, moving on to the vote. All in favor, aye.
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 None opposed, the motion passes. The next three items are policies that the attorney drew up to put in legal format. Theron, I'm not sure if you've had a chance to review those yet. Would be the architectural policy, electronic communications policy, and the residential leasing policy.
I have not reviewed them yet. I can review them, and can we email and vote on this via email? As far as
We
sizing?
can,
Okay.
yeah, we can.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll review them tomorrow.
Okay. So those were the next three items.
Hold on, LaShawna, I have a point of order on the resolution authorizing electronic transmission of information, notices, and meetings. After reviewing the document a few days ago, I noticed that Exhibit A is outdated. It has Century management information on Exhibit A that needs to reflect Barkin.
Okay, yeah, we can look at that. We've been trying to get these signed for a while now, so we'll have to review them and make annotations of anything that needs to be updated. And then give Theron the opportunity to review them to determine whether or not determine how he wants to vote on moving forward and signing these. So we will table that for now until Theron has a chance to review. And Brian will make sure we update anything that needs to be updated.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said I will update?
No. I said we'll make sure that we get anything updated that needs to be updated. No, the attorney is gonna have to do that.
Right. It's Exhibit A, the consent for electronic transmission of notice. The portion for Century needs to be changed to Barkin.
Yeah, the attorney has to do that.
Okay. Well, you know what? So let me ask you a question, because that's going to cost money. Do we have this? Do we have this in Word document form? Because basically, the attorney doesn't have to do it. I mean, it's just a matter of changing. Please email, mail, or fax your signed. It's supposed to be Form 2. Brentwood Homeowners Association, Inc. in care of, instead of Century, should be Barkin, and then the address for Barkin with their phone number, with their address, phone number, and office number. Yeah, I don't see why we need an attorney.
We do not have a Word version of this. The attorney, in order for it to be legally binding, the attorney had to draft this and put it in legal form. It was sent to us in PDF. So there's no way for us to change it. We have to go through the attorney. Unfortunately, it wasn't signed in a timely manner, and so this is where we're at.
So even with a PDF, version that can change documents, you're not able. I mean, you wouldn't feel comfortable to change that. And
I wouldn't feel comfortable. No, I would not feel comfortable changing a legal document from an attorney.
Yeah, I think, to me, I guess, like you said, it's the price of doing business on the delay in signing it. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be too crazy. I mean, that's a 5-minute fix.
No, I do
They
not.
shouldn't charge it an hour's
yeah,
worth.
I mean, they're going to charge you an hour. Whatever the legal fees are, it's going to be an hour.
We still got to change it anyways, O'Brien, because my name got to be changed on it.
Correct.
So it had to go back anyway.
Well, nobody's name is on the document. Nobody's name is on any documentation. We will sign, and then we will print our name underneath our signature.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
So anything else on that? On the policies?
No.
Okay. Moving on to the election voting system recommendation. Era made a recommendation. I forwarded the email to the board email box for a voting system to use to prevent the problems we have had in the past with the voting, with establishing a quorum and taking attendance and all of that. Bottom line is the cost is $99, I'm assuming plus tax.
Mr. Let me interrupt. Since I just want to let you know, since I am running for election, I won't comment or on anything that has to do with the election.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay.
Thank you. So the cost is $99,
I don't
which,
see that $99. I see $908 for the first vote in a year, annual 576 units. Price is $908. Where is it at $99?
Era sent an email on Tuesday, April 4th, and saying
I'm
that
looking at the proposal that she actually attached to the email.
she contacted the company, which is Election Buddy, and talked to them. And it is $99 for up to 1,000 votes.
Okay, but okay, so the I understand that, but the estimate that she attached for Vote HOA now, it says, please find below the online voting estimates you requested for Brentwood, 576 units. The actual document does not say $99 anywhere in this document. I'm just trying to understand where she got the $99 from and why is it not on this actual proposal?
So I will reach out to her to obtain clarification.
Do you see on page 2 where it says service billing period?
I'm trying to pull it up now. Okay, yeah.
Page 2, first vote in a year, annual 576 units, price $908. And then it breaks down a la carte votes and different services that they provide.
Right. So I will reach out to her and obtain clarification on the pricing. But if you can review just what the system does, and pending the price, we'll need to decide if this is something we want to move forward with for this year's election.
Yeah,
And moving forward.
I think we need to I don't have a problem using the system, especially if it's within budget and within reason. I'm just not familiar with this system, and if we could get a tutorial on the system, including and to include the nominating committee that will be, that's part of the whole entire voting process, to also be a part of this, because I just want to make sure we have all our bases covered.
Sure. So I'll address that when I reach out to her and come back with the pricing information and also information about a walkthrough.
Right.
Okay. Then the next item was 9214 Maytide Street drainage issue reported. You want to take that one?
Yes. So there was a report from the homeowner of 9214 Maytide Street that reported improper drainage in the back of their home. They sent this over to Era, who is our account executive at Barkin. Just wanted to let the community know that Era is engaging. She will be engaged. She will engage the county to ascertain what is going on with the drainage, and hopefully have a report probably within the next maybe 30 to 45 days. And in the actual email, there are photos of the area that is affected.
Okay. Then the next item was Charles County Sheriff's Office requested to attend our next board meeting to talk about collaboration with the community. I reached out to Era, and that has been scheduled and confirmed for our quarterly meeting this month on Thursday, April 20th. So Charles County Sheriff's Office, the representative will be in attendance. So we'll need to adjust our agenda for that quarterly meeting to fit them in. But that has already been confirmed that they will be in attendance to speak to the board and to the community.
Shauna, do we know who will be in attendance? Can we get their name, their title?
His name is in the email, and I can forward that over to you. I don't have it in front of me right now, but I can forward that. Well, it's actually in the board email box.
Okay, thank you.
I recommend as we're setting the agenda for the meeting that we have whoever the representative is at the top of the agenda.
Yes.
Yeah,
correct.
just in case they need to leave. Okay.
Yep, I agree totally. So that is that. Then I saw a late agenda item come in.
Yes, there's a late agenda item. I'll take this one. This is actually the 2023 National Night Out, which is scheduled for Tuesday, August the 1st, 2023. We received a registration form from the Charles County Sheriff's Office. They want to know whether or not we are going to participate. I sent an email to Ernest, who is the chair for safety and security, as well as Mallory, who is the chair for events, asking them their thoughts and suggestions. They would like to have the event. It is a lot of work to put the event together. They had suggested that we look for volunteers in order to help, or look for volunteers to lead the event and to help put this event together. Last year, it was a blast. I believe, I don't know the exact count, but I mean, we had a good number of homeowners come out, and it was a good time. We were able to come together as a community, bond, forge new relationships, meet our neighbors. I'm all for it. I just wanted to put that on the radar, just to go forward and see if we could actually pull this off again.
I recommend that we send some type of solicitation out, asking for volunteers to lead the event, and let them know that if we don't get a significant or sufficient amount of volunteers, then we'll have to pass on it. My question is, when do we have to let Charles County know that we want to participate? When does that need to be in?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it says, please return by July 1st, 2023. So we do have some time.
So I was asked that we ask for a volunteer to assist the committee, to assist the communications and the safety and security committees in putting on the national nights out. We send something out and we say we need at least X amount of volunteers by this date. What X is and what that date is, I would defer to communications and safety and security.
Well, it's not going to be communication. It's going to be events.
Events.
And safety and security.
Yeah, yeah.
So Brian, can you reach out to Ernie and confirm? From my understanding, National Night Out was one of the events or one of the things that the community needed to participate in to maintain membership in the COPS program that we're enrolled in. So I'm not sure if not having it is an option. So if you can reach out to Ernie and confirm. But from my understanding, we were required to do certain things to maintain our good standing in this program. And I believe National Night Out was one of them.
Yes, I will reach out to Ernie and ascertain that information.
Yeah, as the same thing, the date and the number of volunteers, a minimum number of volunteers that the committee chairs feel comfortable moving forward with.
I will send an email to safety and security as well as events to get that number, to see if they can come up with a number to provide us.
Yep.
Okay. At this time, are there any other agenda items? That's all that I had on the agenda for this evening.
Well, I thought I had one more, but I can't remember it. I had one more, but it'll come to me later. No worries.
Okay. Ron?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay, so the time is now 8:20. We will take community comments and questions until 8:30. If you have a question that you would like to ask the board, please raise your electronic hand at this time. Michael?
Yes, I had a question. It's pertaining to the equipment, sump pump equipment that we found out that we didn't know that we had. Along that same vein, I was wondering if there is any type of official action that Barkin can take or when engaging with Century, the old management company, to ensure that we have every piece of information, or Barkin has every piece of information that Century had. Is there some sort of legal, like, are they legally required to provide Barkin with everything that they have? And has action been taken to ensure that they have all the information? That's my question.
They are legally required to provide Barkin our information. They did work with Century to transfer all the files and all of the information to Barkin's knowledge. All of that information has been transferred over. So it was a process that took place during the time we were transitioning between the management companies. And I have been informed that to Barkin's knowledge, they have received all of that information.
That's a great question, Michael. I really don't believe Century was even had the slightest idea. Just looking at historical data, and I'll use this as a reference. The well issue that we went through last year, whether or not this well is part of the community or who it belongs to. I believe Century was the management company for a number of years. I just don't believe they had sufficient records to actually be able to say, okay, this piece of equipment is part of the community.
Thank you. So it may possibly be the fact that Century didn't receive a proper turnover from the previous management company, which was Meredith Management, the original management company. So
yep, and that could be very well the case. Absolutely. And that's why we suggested for Barkin to reach out directly to, what is her name?
Melinda Murray.
Melinda Murray. I'm losing track. Yeah, Melinda Murray.
Thank you. Mallory?
Sorry, struggling to get off mute. So I just wanted to take this time to kind of make a shameless plug for the community events committee, as well as kind of pitch to why it's important that folks volunteer for National Night Out. So the community events committee, we've had lots of meetings and maybe 1 or 2 people show up. So we're not having an Easter egg hunt this year because of that. I cannot plan events for 500 households by myself. So I think that's going to be more of the same with National Night Out if folks don't step up. So I just want to kind of put that out there so that expectations are clear, that homeowners have to be involved to make things happen. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Totally agree. I don't see any more hands at this time. Going once, going twice. All right, the time is 8:25. We are going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you everyone for joining us and have a good evening.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.